The air hung heavy and humid over Kuala Lumpur International Airport. It was March 8, 2014. The bustling terminal throbbed with the usual energy of international travel. 227 passengers and 12 crew members prepared to board Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. The Boeing 777-200ER stood gleaming under the runway lights, bound for Beijing, China. Passengers settled into their seats, chatting, scrolling through phones, or resting. The flight crew completed their pre-flight checks with practiced efficiency. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, with over 18,000 flight hours, went through routine procedures. The Boeing 777 taxied to the runway, its engines a low rumble in the night. It lifted gracefully into the air, leaving the twinkling cityscape behind. The initial leg of the flight was uneventful. The plane climbed steadily to its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. Passengers settled in, enjoying the in-flight entertainment or catching up on sleep. The first sign of trouble came about an hour into the flight. At 1:19 a.m. local time, as MH370 approached Malaysian airspace, air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur received a routine transmission.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
This would be the last communication received from the flight. What happened next has become one of the most enduring mysteries of our time. Flight MH370 vanished from radar screens. The transponder went silent. The plane had seemingly disappeared into thin air. The disappearance of Flight MH370 triggered an immediate and frantic search effort. Malaysian authorities, joined by international partners, launched a massive operation spanning thousands of square miles. Planes scoured the skies, ships combed the waters, and satellites were retasked to search for any trace of the missing jetliner. However, the initial search efforts were hampered by conflicting information and the sheer vastness of the potential search area. The lack of a distress signal or any indication of a mechanical failure only deepened the mystery. As days turned into weeks, the world watched and waited, hoping against hope for a miracle. But the silence from MH370 remained unbroken. The search for MH370 quickly became one of the largest and most complex in aviation history. Countries from Southeast Asia to Australia contributed resources, their efforts coordinated by the Malaysian government. The initial focus was on the South China Sea, where the plane was last detected by radar. However, as the days passed with no sign of the aircraft, the search area expanded exponentially. The disappearance of MH370 sent shockwaves around the world. News outlets provided round-the-clock coverage, analyzing every detail and development. Social media platforms became forums for speculation, with theories ranging from the plausible to the outlandish. The public was captivated by the mystery, desperate for answers in the face of such an unprecedented event. The incident also exposed the limitations of modern aviation tracking systems. Despite advancements in technology, a sophisticated aircraft had seemingly vanished without a trace. The aviation industry faced scrutiny as questions arose about safety protocols and the need for improved tracking capabilities. Governments and aviation authorities pledged to review and enhance safety measures in the wake of the tragedy. The absence of a definitive explanation for the disappearance of MH370 created a vacuum quickly filled by speculation and theories. Experts and amateur sleuths alike grappled with the limited information, proposing a range of scenarios to explain the plane's fate.
These theories ranged from the plausible to the far-fetched, each attempting to reconcile the known facts with the baffling lack of evidence. One of the most prevalent theories centered around the possibility of a deliberate act by the pilots. Some experts speculated that Captain Zahari, a highly experienced pilot, may have hijacked his own plane for personal reasons. This theory was fueled by the deliberate shutdown of communication systems and the plane's unusual flight path, suggesting a level of planning and expertise.
Another theory focused on the possibility of a mechanical failure, such as a catastrophic decompression or an electrical fire. Proponents of this theory argued that such an event could explain the sudden loss of communication and the plane's erratic movements. However, critics pointed out the lack of any distress signal or evidence of debris in the initial search area. After more than a year of searching, with hope dwindling, a glimmer of hope emerged. In July 2015, a piece of debris washed ashore on the island of Reunion, thousands of miles from the initial search area. It was identified as a flaperon, a part of the wing from a Boeing 777. Subsequent analysis confirmed that it belonged to MH370. The discovery of the flaperon, while heartbreaking, provided the first tangible evidence that the plane had indeed crashed somewhere in the Indian Ocean. It also reignited hope that more debris might be found, potentially leading searchers to the plane's final resting place. Following the discovery of the flaperon, the search effort refocused on the western Indian Ocean. Experts use sophisticated oceanographic modeling to predict the likely drift patterns of debris, narrowing down the search area. Despite years of investigation and the discovery of debris, the disappearance of MH370 remains one of the most perplexing mysteries of our time. The lack of a definitive explanation for the plane's deviation from its planned course, the absence of a distress signal, and the silence of the black boxes continue to baffle investigators and fuel speculation. Theories abound, ranging from mechanical failure and pilot suicide to hijacking and even cyber-terrorism. However, none of these theories fully explain the available evidence, leaving the families of the passengers and crew, as well as the world at large, yearning for answers. The disappearance of MH370 has left an indelible mark on the aviation industry. It has highlighted the limitations of current tracking systems and prompted a global push for enhanced safety measures. The disappearance of MH370 left behind a void filled with unimaginable grief and uncertainty. For the families and friends of the 239 souls on board, the tragedy was a cruel twist of fate that shattered their lives.
The lack of closure, the absence of a definitive answer to the question of what happened to our loved ones, has only compounded our pain.
In the years since the tragedy, families of the victims have been tireless in their pursuit of truth and justice. They have organized vigils, lobbied governments, and demanded answers from authorities.
Our resilience in the face of unimaginable loss is a testament to the enduring power of love and the human spirit's need for closure.
The family's unwavering pursuit of answers has kept the memory of MH370 alive in the public consciousness. The disappearance of MH370 was more than just an aviation mystery. It was a deeply human tragedy. Behind the headlines and the theories were 239 individuals from 15 different countries, each with their own stories, dreams, and loved ones. There were couples embarking on long-awaited vacations, families returning home after visiting relatives, and individuals pursuing new opportunities abroad. Among the passengers were seasoned travelers and first-time flyers, artists and business people, students and retirees. They spoke different languages, practiced different religions, and came from all walks of life. Yet, they were united by their shared humanity and their presence on that fateful flight. The loss of these individuals sent shockwaves through their communities, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. The disappearance of MH370 captured the world's imagination like few events in recent history. The mystery, the lack of answers, and the sheer scale of the tragedy combined to create a story that resonated on a global scale. The media provided extensive coverage, fueling public interest and speculation. The incident also spawned a cottage industry of books, documentaries, and podcasts, each offering its own perspective on the mystery. Amateur sleuths and armchair detectives scoured the internet for clues, poring over satellite data, flight records, and eyewitness accounts. The enduring fascination with MH370 speaks to our innate curiosity about the unknown. The search for MH370 has been suspended and reactivated multiple times over the years. Despite the challenges and the dwindling hope, the desire to find the plane and bring closure to the families remains. The pursuit of answers has driven technological advancements in underwater search and rescue, as well as a deeper understanding of ocean currents and debris drift patterns. While the mystery of MH370 may never be fully solved, the search for answers continues. The families of those lost that day deserve closure, and the world deserves to know what happened to Flight 370.